under the Buari Area Council. In case you haven't been here, this is a hidden gem here in the FCT, and we came here because we decided to share this beautiful place with you. We're going to speak to Usman, who is going to tell us all about the crushed rocks.
My company been there, they work. So as they blast now in the enter houses, they scatter some houses. So the people will get the town. They don't come green now, made they blast, they scatter houses. So now they come tell them, make them pack. And the time with this water gather like this. They blast, so as they blast now they come reach where water the teeth come burst out. So water come they come out. So water come out. Then it's again. If the frame they fall, the water go the add. So and this place, all these people they see like this. When they enter the water, they pack and go inside. So a place with the blue and they pack something to come inside.
Wait, you enter the water.
Yes,
are you not afraid of it?
I don't get used to the water now.
How long have you been here in the crushed rocks?
Almost 15 years.
Wow. So you grew up in this area?
I grew up in this area.
Okay, so how often do people come here?
From many places. Some used to come from Lagos, from all these far places they used to come from.
And what do they do when they come here?
They come to chill with their people. Some used to come with their girlfriends and
How do you know it's their girlfriends that they come with? Okay, so when they come, like you informed me before we started that people come for music videos as well and different things. And is it open throughout the year? Are there days that it is closed?
No days that it is closed. 247.
It's open.
People are coming and it's open.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the water itself, because I hear that there are times that the color changes.
If you come here in the morning, around that time 5 or 6, you will see everything really under the water, and both these stones really under. You will see everything.
Stones?
Now stone been there under now, really they blast now.
Oh, okay.
Even this water, yeah, that pen loader, that's where they carry stone they put inside the pan.
So it's inside the water?
They're under the water. Up to now, they never come out and it's still there.
Do you have any idea how deep the water is?
See this height right there like this? Yes. This water don't swallow almost 3 height like this, 3 steps like this with this.
Okay. That's really interesting. Now I'm even getting scared because I'm a bit fearful of water. But it's really interesting because I'm not sure a lot of people know about crushed rocks. So tell me what you think about this area. Do you want, like in the future, what do you see for it? Maybe in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, this place go on develop.
Okay, so what kind of development do you hope for?
Like the way they used to do in Jabi Lake now.
Yes.
When put the deep water, all those stuff. Person don't come here, don't give us many ideas what we do for we go get money, but now we know we never get the things we go use, provide all those things we go use do the things that's why it say we never do them.
Okay. So you're hoping that when crushed rocks becomes that place that you will be here and you'll still be a part of it and you'll still be welcoming people. So if I come in 5 years, I'll say, where's Usman? And they'll say, oh, he's here, and you remember me.
I remember you.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Actually, I came here for a picnic. So a friend told us that this is where we're going to meet for the picnic. So I came here. It's a really wonderful place, a place of fun. Actually, I love it.
Well, it's been incredible today coming to the crushed rocks, and I'm sure you'd agree with me that it is an utterly beautiful place. So I hope that we have encouraged you to step out of your comfort zone and visit the little gems we have all across the FCT. You know I care about you, so here is a reminder on how we can take better care of ourselves, because after all, we are still fighting a pandemic. Here is a look at what you can do to take care of yourself and those around you. have all the relevant information you need on hand to take better care of yourselves. So please, let's make sure we have our checkups regularly. If you're a woman, make sure you see your gynecologist regularly. And if you have children, please make sure that their immunizations are up to date. And on a final note, remember that we're fighting a pandemic, so please wear your masks and take better care of yourselves and those around you. I'm sure you had a wonderful time with me on Window on Abuja today, so I'm sure you will join me same time, same station. As always, I am Maimuna Ummi Ibrahim.
My dear party members, there comes a time when all good people must not only speak, but rise up and get involved in the task of improving their society. The need has never been greater than now for all Nigerians to actively contribute to the all-important task of nation building by bringing about good leadership and governance. For most citizens, their greatest weapon is their vote. Register now for your party and register when the time comes for elections. Political parties are the main vehicles under our laws through which citizens can participate in the ideals and practices of our democracy. As we have seen happening around the world, good citizens join political parties and use them to bring about the changes they desire. I am therefore endorsing the nationwide membership registration and the revalidation exercise embarked upon by our party, the All Progressive Congress. I call on patriotic Nigerians to come out during the exercise, which starts on the 25th of January, and avail themselves of the opportunity to join the APC. Thank you, and may God bless our country.
There's just something about speed and simplicity, but that speed and simplicity can be deceiving when you get behind the wheel. 30-year-old Emily sent this text message to her husband: "I love you and I'll try to make you happy." Moments later, Emily was killed when her car slammed into the back of a tractor trailer. 18-year-old Midi was also texting when his car slammed into the back of a truck at 80 miles per hour. His final text was,
"Driving and Facebooking is not safe. Ha ha."
You probably think that this thing can happen to you. You are not alone. 55% of young adult drivers say that it is easy to text and drive. 3/4 of the same young adults feel that they are really good texting behind the wheels. Reality is, they are all delusional. That quick look at your phone takes longer than you think. 5 seconds are really long. Imagine you're driving on the road and someone suddenly covers your face for 5 quick seconds, like this. You will probably feel very lucky if you didn't crash. But you chose to take your sight off the road just like that anytime you're sending or reading a text. Texting and driving is fast becoming the leading cause of teens' death on the road world over, surpassing even drinking and driving. But if you think dying in a car crash is the worst thing that happens to you, I tell you it is not. You can survive after you've killed someone else. Imagine spending the rest of your life knowing you killed someone just because of a text message. Now imagine going to jail just because of text message. Still think it will never happen to you? Still think you're the special one? There are so many that have been found guilty of texting while driving. But you can make a difference, just like so many young people have vowed not to text and drive. Leave your cell phone alone while driving. If you must send a text message, pull off the road into a parking lot or anywhere that is safe. No text is so important that it should cost your life or the life of someone else. You are not different. You are not special. You're just another accident waiting to happen if you do not desist from texting and driving. So, don't text and drive.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile.
President Buhari makes case for an African Union that will emancipate Africans.
Nigeria is one of the big contributors to the AU, and you want to see the benefits of what you're paying for, you see, and also the vision that we have for, for Africa.
Southeast leaders applaud progress on Second Niger Bridge.
And we are very happy that President Muhammadu Buhari made this promise, and he's keeping the promise.
Nigeria records 506 new COVID-19 infections.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the federal government's National Livestock Transformation Program.
Crops and livestock are indispensable agricultural products that are critical to food security in Nigeria. But sadly, those involved in their production have continued to be at loggerheads in many parts of the country, breeding violent conflicts that leave death and destruction in their trail and ultimately threaten food security in the country.
Kirian, you are obviously referring to the farmers-herders conflicts, which have continued unabated in the country. Now, it is common knowledge that most pastoralists, especially in Africa, are nomadic in nature, and the reality of desert encroachment and other factors are compelling them to move in droves down the southern parts of Nigeria through the Benue and Niger River troughs in search of lush grazing land for their cattle.
But farmers on their part say their crops are being destroyed in the process when pastoralists unleash their cattle to graze without control in farmlands, and this has led to disturbing conflicts that adds to the spirit of insecurity in parts of the country.
Now, we recall that it was in a bid to curb the lingering farmers-herders conflicts that the National Economic Council, chaired by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, in 2019 launched the National Livestock Transformation Plan. Now, the 10-year program spanning 2019 to 2028 seeks to provide a strategic roadmap for the Nigerian livestock sector by introducing ranching models for pastoralists with the hope of eliminating the farmers-herders conflicts in the long run.
Indeed, the National Livestock Transformation Plan was anchored on key pillars of economic investments, conflict resolution, humanitarian relief, information, and education, as well as strategic communications. And about 7 northern states were listed as pilots for the program, which was then described as a roadmap to modernizing pastoralist activities in Nigeria.
Well, with 2 years gone in the 10-year roadmap, not much is being heard of the activities or even impact of the Livestock Transformation Program, such that the Plateau State Governor, Simon Lalong, who also doubles as chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, was recently calling for the full implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan as the farmers-herders conflict, which of course was the roadmap was intended to address. Those conflicts have continued to linger.
So what is impending, the full, or what is impeding rather, what is impeding the full implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan? Have the pilot states achieved any of the objectives worthy of a peer review by other states? Is the plan still feasible? And what economic potential does it hold for the nation?
Well, we shall seek answers to those questions and more in the course of today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria, on which note we'd like to welcome you to the program, reaching you as always on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. My name is Kingsley Osadola, and we are here broadcasting from the nation's capital, Abuja.
And I am Kirian Umaya. We shall, however, bring you our usual complimentary segments in the course of the program, business news, newspaper review, and sports, if time permits. For now, let's kick off with the morning news. And of course, Nolene Ebelame is our guide. Hello, Nolene.
Hi, Kieran. Good morning to you and Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria. Here is the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong case for African leaders to work concertedly towards ensuring a more productive, self-sufficient and purpose-driven African Union that will fully serve the interests of their people. Contributing to the debate on the reform of the African Union, the president maintains that global realities demand that the union must be overhauled to remain relevant in intergovernmental processes.
Great believer in good governance, in transparent governance, and also in impactful governance. Nigeria is one of the big contributors to the AU, and you want to see the benefits of what you're paying for, you see, and also the vision that we have for, for Africa. As I said, the Africa we want. We have a 2063 agenda, a roadmap.
But for ECOWAS and indeed Africa. And when you look at precisely what is happening today in our sub-region, you realize, of course, that we need all that we can get to address the issues of insecurity in this around us.
The ongoing construction of a second bridge across the River Niger is set to be a promise made and kept by the Buhari administration to the people of the Southeast region. The leadership of the All Progressives Congress APC in the Southeast and Ohaneze, who visited the site in Anambra State, said the project will not only benefit people of the region, but the country in general.
That those who are saying that the federal government has not remembered Southeast, I want anybody to point at anywhere in Nigeria that is one project that is its cost is 366 billion naira. And I believe the only way really to trust your government is that when your government makes a promise, it keeps it.
And talking politics now, as the membership registration and revalidation exercise of the All Progressives Congress, APC, gets underway, the Publicity Subcommittee of the Contact and Mobilization Committee, headed by Governor Yahaya Bello, has called on Nigerians, especially women and the youth, to see the exercise as a golden opportunity to register and on the ruling party. The Publicity Subcommittee also praised the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, headed by Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State, for its reconciliation of the crisis in many states, especially the Zamfara State chapter, saying it was not in doubt that Rivers, Imo and Kwara would equally be reconciled. The subcommittee recalled that the registration and revalidation exercise became imperative primarily because the party's quest to construct a national data membership register was aborted by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in 2013. It said President Buhari had laid the solid foundation for promotion of the doctrine of internal democracy and ownership of the APC by the people during his revalidation exercise in Daura. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture has challenged all the institutions under the ministry on the need to carry their host communities along in the experimentation of research and innovations. Minister of State for Agriculture Mustapha Babashe Huri spoke during a working visit to Bauchi and Gombe states.
This coupled with efforts to improve rural infrastructure and other value chain support will invariably contribute to the attainment of Mr. President's desire to ensure easy access.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has announced a trading surplus of 13.43 billion naira for the month of November 2020. This shows a 54% increase from the 8.71 billion naira surplus recorded in October 2020. A statement by the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of the corporation, Dr. Kenny Obateru, says the 54% increase in trading surplus in November 2020 is primarily ascribed to the substantial decrease in expenditure from the Nigeria Gas Company, NGC, due to cost reduction in overheads, coupled with 38% reduction in NNPC corporate headquarters deficit. And on health, 506 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded in Nigeria in the last 24 hours, bringing Nigeria's caseload to 139,748. Data from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, indicate that the new infections occurred in 19 states and the FCT, beginning with Ondo, which recorded 90 cases, Kwara 89, Rivers 53, Borno 45, Gombe 32, FCT 28, Imo 26, Ogun 25, while Lagos recorded a drastic drop to 22 cases. Kaduna and Kano have 14 cases each, Edo 13, Osun 11, Cross River 10, Yobe 9, Ekiti 7, Kebbi and Nasarawa 6 cases each, Oyo 5 and Jigawa 1 case. There are 26,223 active cases nationwide. 113,525 of Nigeria's total confirmed COVID-19 cases have been discharged, while the death toll is now 1,667. That's the highlights of the morning news for now. The program continues with Kingsley and Kieran after this break. I am Nolene Ebel Ame.
My dear party members, there comes a time when all good people must not only speak, but rise up and get involved in the task of improving their society. The need has never been greater than now for all Nigerians to actively contribute to the all-important task of nation building by bringing about good leadership and governance. For most citizens, their greatest weapon is their vote. Register now for your party and register when the time comes for elections. Political parties are the main vehicles under our laws through which citizens can participate in the ideals and practices of our democracy. As we have seen happening around the world, good citizens join political parties and use them to bring about the changes they desire. I am therefore endorsing the nationwide membership registration and the revalidation exercise embarked upon by our party, the All Progressive Congress. I call on patriotic Nigerians to come out during the exercise, which starts on the 26th of January, and avail themselves of the opportunity to join the APC. Thank you, and may God bless our country.
Dear customer, link your Airtel number to your national identification number today. Here are easy ways you can do it. Dial *121*1# on your Airtel line and follow the prompts on the screen. Type in your 11-digit government-approved NIN number. You will receive a confirmation message to confirm your entry. You can also visit www.airtel.com.ng/NIN to link your phone number to your NIN. If you do not know your NIN, simply dial *346# to get it. No stress, no wahala.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hello, I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wiri abi mi o wiri.
Teacher, you a fellow one country. Teacher, you a fellow one country. Omoni recite.
Ajebo na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Kadesi. We know happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders. Hey, we are trying, Shao. Sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I mean, that is why I talk with that now.
Not for me. Not for me because of Pamio.
Omoni recite.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Next is business news, and here is our correspondent, Chimobi Walter Nanji.
Since the president made the pronouncement on his intention to lift 100 Nigerians out of poverty, a lot of conscious efforts has been put in place to achieve this. And they include the introduction of 75 billion naira MSME Survival Fund embedded inside the 2.3 trillion naira Economic Sustainability Fund.
As a young person myself, I know what it is like to desire to create a career for yourself that you would be proud of.
This time, another 25 young professionals are being engaged by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment through the Commodities Exports Department and the Young Professionals Program to build the capacity of young people in meeting the challenges of emerging economies.
The CEDYP is designed for young officers in the department who have
proven potentials and have passions for national development, passion to be mentored, and can acquire relevant professional experience that will aid them to grow into impactful leaders. It is my belief that programs like the Young Professionals will play a significant role in filling knowledge gaps where it exists in the system. In today's digital world, multiplicity as well as diversity of talents are required for the work that needs to be done with high velocity of change around us.
These 25 people are among the first phase of the engagements, as the initiative will help fill the gap of manpower development and open the young people to international opportunities. With Business News, I'm Chimubi Walter Naji.
All right, thank you, Chimubi Walter Naji, for that package. Next on Good Morning Nigeria is newspaper review.
Reviewer Bayer Tebe is with us in the studios this morning. Bayer, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Kinsley. Good morning.
I hope you had a pleasant weekend.
Yes.
Good morning, Bayer, and welcome.
All right.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay, let's begin with the Punch newspaper. Above the nameplate, we have 17.03 billion liters of fuel consumed in 13 months. That's according to the NNPC. That's on page 24. Middle Belt, CNG disagree with Gumi over amnesty cash for bandits. Gumi is asking taxpayers' money to be spent on those killing Nigerians. He is curious. That's according to MBF. That's on page 2. Cryptocurrencies breed illegal activities, raise risks, CBN. That's on page 26. Now, the lead story here this morning. Petrol price may hit 190 naira as oil nears $60 per barrel. That's on page 23. There are certain comments by Morman, Ipeman, and of course NNPC. For details, of course, you can get the Punch newspaper for all that. Now, you can see motorbikes numbering, in fact, in their tens, and other vehicles. That's protesters in a convoy demonstrating against the military coup in Myanmar. Myanmar, of course, you know, is one of the East Asian countries. All right, and below that we have winners pastor jailed for stealing church's $90,000. It's on page 5. Resident doctors begin 3-day warning strike in Nasarawa Hospital. It's on page 14. Senator demands release of Kanu Baba, arrested over anti-Islam hairstyle. That's on page 11. Now, there are other stories at the bottom of the Punch newspaper, the front page. NMA attacks Health Workers Union, says Johesu envious. It's on page 37. FCT kidnap epidemic. Ex-immigration officer, 3 others abducted. It's on page 11. Again, bandits raid Kaduna communities, 19 killed, houses burnt. It's on page 7. Kinsley.
All right, let's also take a look at the front page of the Daily Trust, and a number of the stories, of course, on the front page relate to murder and death and funerals. Let's look at below the nameplate. Says membership registration. Benue APC World Chair killed. That's on page 6. Furore over CBN ban on cryptocurrency. Police kill 8 in Edo. Nab 6 kidnappers in Abuja. And the lead story says 26 killed in Kaduna, Edo, and Osun attacks. 26 killed in Kaduna, Edo, and Osun attacks. Customs officer, 4 others abducted in FCT. Taraba NLC chair regains freedom. That's from kidnappers. And then you see the photographs there on the front page of the Daily Trust. Says monarch gathered for funeral of 16 persons killed at Kutameshi village in Bereniguari, and that was yesterday. 16 of them, you can see their bodies there on the right side. That's the photograph that is inside. Federal government to repatriate 4,982 Borno refugees in Cameroon. 3 are Majere, 8 others burnt in tanker fire. And then DLA seizes 1.4 billion naira cannabis in Edo village. That's page 29. Ayo.
Thank you, Kinsley. Let's look at the African Union that had its 34th session over the weekend. President Muhammadu Buhari has called for a comprehensive reform of the structures and the operations of the African Union to make it functional in meeting its targets. Otherwise, the Continental Union will become stale. The president provided the advice during the 2-day virtual summit. He specifically indicated that global realities demand that the African Union to be overhauled. The Union must become productive, self-sufficient, and purposeful-driven to serve the interests of the African people. The president hailed President Paul Kagame for a special report on the need to reform the African Union. President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, assumed position as the chairman of the African Union. He promised to elevate the African voices and focus sustainable development by and for Africans. He said he will be working to ensure that the integral well-being, peace, security, healthcare, and strong resolve against COVID-19, as well as food security. The central bank on Friday served a reminder to commercial and other financial institutions to prohibit facilitation of payments for cryptocurrency transactions. The central bank reiterated its January 2017 warning and stressed that entities, transactions, cryptocurrency exchanges within the financial institution system should be identified and such accounts should be closed immediately. Daily Trust reports that a cyber criminal cartel hijacked the data of one bank and demanded ransom in bitcoins. So kidnapping now has gone into the banking sector. Apparently, kidnapping the data of a bank and demanding ransom before you release it. Cryptocurrency are virtual currencies, and its trading it was introduced between the year 2007 and 2008. And anonymous persons and groups identified as Satoshi Nakamura, that name sounds Japanese, created the first cryptocurrency, otherwise known as a virtual currency. Bitcoin is transacted and is believed to be quicker, easier, and cheaper. COVID-19 now. Nigeria recorded more positive testing and more deaths from COVID-19, sadly. The Tribune last week says, last week we had 8,685 cases were recorded, and unfortunately we lost 69 of our compatriots. So far, 1,302,410 persons have been tested since Saturday. And so far, as of Saturday, we have 139,242 that have tested positive. There are presently 25,038 patients isolated in various hospitals. Just last Friday, we had about 1,647 cases. On Saturday, 1,624. And this morning, we are having a report of 506 new cases, which has brought our national total to 139,748. Around the world, pressures are mounting in Europe and America. But however, on Friday, United Kingdom had about 19,000 cases, and it has dropped to 18,000. On Friday, the death toll, which was 1,014, has dropped to 828. In the United States, they had registered about 400,000 deaths at inauguration of President Biden. As at the last count, that has increased with only about 60,311. The challenge presently is the racial disparity about targeting the ethnic and minority communities who are reluctant in signing up for vaccination. But the World Health Organization has also expressed concern about the distribution of vaccination. The World Health Organization is lamenting that currently 3/4 of the vaccinations that is available is only available in 10 countries, and it's going to 60% of countries with a GDP. He said 130 countries with a population of 2.5 billion have not administered one single dose. And that is why the World Health Organization is worried about what they describe as vaccine nationalism. A few nations, in Europe, for instance, 8 countries are responsible for producing the Pfizer biotech vaccines, and it's being circulated within their domain. And the COVAX program of World Health Organization, for which distribution is going across the world, is very, very slow in catching up with the spread of the virus. You recall that Nigeria was given 10,000 doses of Pfizer.
100,000.
100,000 of Pfizer vaccine. There was speculation recently, which the National Primary Healthcare has refuted, saying that Nigeria did not have the storage facilities. And that is false, because the agency showed the facility they acquired. They had facility refrigerators that could store the vaccine below minus 70 degrees. You will recall that we just came out of overcoming, what is the virus now that we overcame?
Ebola.
Not Ebola.
Polio.
Polio. And polio, we were storing about minus 50 degrees centigrade. So having the facilities around was just to upgrade to minus 70 degrees. So that wasn't the challenge. Well, but the executive director has clarified. He said, we are now waiting for 16 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which will serve our purpose, because the 100,000 compared to our population of over 200 million is a drop in the ocean.
Well, even in the U.S. and elsewhere, they have started the vaccination. That has not reflected in the number of infections they have in that country, or the number of deaths they have in the country. So, which is an indication that COVID-19 is really, ravaging the world, if you like, because all these efforts by even Britain, as I rightly mentioned now, I mean, it's having it. The death toll is on the increase, even with the vaccination. So one wonders.
Of recent, it has been dropping. The death toll is dropping. The cases are dropping, and specifically, 3 variants of the virus have been identified. There is the three variants. The B117, the UK variant, is identified in 80 countries. The B135 South African variant is now in 41 countries, and the third variant is the P1, the Brazilian variant, is now in 11 countries.
Okay, there are 2 issues that I would like us also to reflect on very quickly. One is the CBN ban on cryptocurrency. I recall a couple of years ago when the cryptocurrency was gaining traction in our financial space, the CBN came out to say that it didn't recognize cryptocurrency as a legal tender. But in recent months, I have been seeing advertisements, billboards, advertising cryptocurrency and all kinds of incentives to persons to patronize it. Well, the CBN ordinarily should have control legally over issues relating to legal tender and all of that. I don't know. I've not participated in the so-called cryptocurrency or this Bitcoin or whatever it is called, but we should be wary.
Yes. Because
some countries have banned, cryptocurrency or the so-called bitcoins.
Well, the caveat emptor was provided by central bank. That is, well, buyers beware. If it's central bank, they don't recognize it. So if you dabble into it, it was at your own risk. But this time around, the action central bank has taken is because it's becoming a kidnapping entity within the banking sector.
Why is it kidnapping entity?
Yeah, the real issue here is that CBN has made it clear that it does not recognize Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as a legal tender. So if you are involved in it, it's risky. In fact, from what he said that it breeds illegal activities and raises risks. So if you are ready to take the risk or bear the risks, fine. But then there's made it clear. And I wonder which business will allow you use cryptocurrency to either make payments or do some transactions in Nigeria. I'm not sure there are business concerns that will allow.
Pertinent question, I have no idea. But what CBN has done is within its powers. If you want to go and transact cryptocurrency or bitcoins, whatever you want to do, go and do it. But not through the nation's financial system. Now, will the banks, for instance, that have not been directed to close the accounts used for cryptocurrency, are they ordinarily supposed to reflect whatever takings there are or whatever balances there are of their cryptocurrency as part of their books? I don't understand the accounting procedure. And I think that it is better for us. Some persons have argued that, no, this is not another Ponzi scheme, it's not MMM, and so on and so forth. Do we have an understanding of what's going on? Something is being played out elsewhere around the world, and we are all falling for it. This was what happened, well, not exactly in terms of cryptocurrency, but that's precisely what happened when the world went into a financial tailspin in 2008. We all saw that. I mean, you saw the financial crisis, the so-called financial derivatives, you know, with subprime mortgages and so on and so forth being issued, and people were just buying papers with no value backing it whatsoever. And when the pyramid crumbled, everybody said, hey, wow, we're in crisis.
Two other stories I'd like to draw attention to. One is on banditry. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal in Sokoto had drawn attention that unless initiatives are made to stop drug being peddled to banditry, all our initiative to end violence and violent killings will be just like killing the snake without cutting off the head. He pointed out that his brother colleague one time drew his attention to the fact that some of the ladies who are hawking fura de nono, the local milk and millet gruel, are actually carrying drugs, and that is the source of drug for most of the persons who are involved in banditry. He revealed this when Sheikh Gumi, who has been embarking on reconciliation and meeting with the bandits, visited him in Sokoto.
Is he trying to say that the bandits don't have access to drugs if they wish to have it? If they have access to AK-47 and other things they use to rob, what is drug? Drug is infinitesimal, they will get it. So for him to say that it's the courtesy of the young girls that are hawking fraud, I mean, that is not, for me, it's not a big deal. The bandits have access to whatever they want to have access to. If they have access to AK-47, which is a very serious weapon, and they use it freely, operate it
along with ammunition.
Along with ammunition, that's inexhaustible ammunition.
Those are more fundamental issues.
I mean, for them, so what is drug? What is drug? Drug is a drug.
Drug is important.
Drug is important. But they'll get it so easy. I'm understanding to say that the source could not just be the ladies that
it's one of the sources that have been identified.
Yeah, these ladies
they are not the source. They are actually couriers.
Are they living with the bandits? Are they in the bush with the bandits? So how does the bandits have access to them?
Or retailers.
To buy it? You can only be retailing for people who are doing the business.
The other one is about
just before, so that we don't get pressed for time, I mentioned that there are two stories of interest. If you recall, when the ruling APC began its registration and re-registration process of its members, we had hinted when we were reviewing it that it would be important for them not to make the mistake that the PDP made sometime in 2006, when registration of party members then became, in a sense, the registration exercise. And I cited the example, which was widely reported at the time, of Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who was from Adamawa State. He was deregistered in the state, and they now had to bring in an exercise book to the villa to come and register him. Now, there are all kinds of stories emanating from the ongoing registration and re-registration of APC members. Story headline here says, membership registration, Benue APC World Chair killed. And there have been conflicting comments by some of the party leaders that the registration is not constitutional. Others are saying, no, it is constitutional, and all kinds of conflicting signals. Well, I think that this is part of what should be of interest to INEC. Of all the political parties that we have, how many of those political parties have an up-to-date register? And where is the register kept? I'm asking these questions because you do know that in the conduct of your primaries, in the conduct of your congresses and so on and so forth, it is the register of your members that you will use. So whether you want to make it closed primaries, which is solely for your party members, or open primaries, which is for anybody and for all, that becomes a difficult question, for the party. But I think that INEC over the years has not scrutinized political parties closely with regard to their membership register. Just go to any location and say, we want to see your membership. Now we are having e-access to say, look, okay, we have a website, we have an electronic storage of our party members. If you went to so and so word, you would find that. So how does INEC scrutinize it?
Well, that is the challenge for INEC. Actually, INEC should be, in fact, interested in the registration going on. Although it's a partisan exercise, but it should be of interest to read, so that, because at the end of the day, that is the instrument that will be used for the primaries. I will go to talk about the incidents of kidnapping that is said to be on increase in the Federal Capital Territory. Incidentally, the Abuja Police Command arrested about 6 suspects in Apo area, and in the process, they also rescued 3 persons. But the areas that have been identified as hotspots are Kuje, Kubwa, Buari, and there's a village in Kuje which is very, very notorious. And it is said that the mode of operation of the kidnappers is to come, shoot into the air, scare people, and then take victims away. Some of the victims of recent have been a reporter of a national tabloid, and also an immigration officer whose members of his family was taken while he was going home. And he's often staged late in the night, between midnight and 3 a.m.
Well, yeah, the Punch reporter who was kidnapped last week has been released. He has regained his freedom, along with, I think, a couple of children from the neighborhood. They were kidnapped in Kubwa last week. So the report on Saturday or Sunday, I'm not quite sure which of the days now, indicated that they had been released. But it's a worrisome trend. There's no question about that.
In the FCT?
Yes.
Like, it's okay. Well, I'm not sure we have time to go to
a
the
copy of the
editorial, which is on relinking the Apapa port with modern rail presages, better Port Harcourt operations, and the jab for the economy.
Yes, the Apapa port, 8.7 kilometers rail now, is now ready. It's been ready since 25th of January, but the editorial is saying categorically that it's not just a means to an end, but it must be used efficiently to improve the economy.
All right, bye. We would like to appreciate you for today's analysis. See you again tomorrow for more on Newspaper Review. Thank you. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now, but when we return, we'll be looking at the main issue for conversation today.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
To join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes.
To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youth, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
You fit to do anything with the number. Everything is in no long thing with 444. No, they scatter your brain with plenty numbers. I beg you, daddy number 444. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi máa lọ fọ́, ó jẹ́ sáré lọ 444. Mo ní máa fọ́, máa lọ gọ̀. Control code is in your hand. 444, four meta is a metaphor. You can charge for a time, you can subscribe for the time, Anywhere you dey, whatever you do, you can use the number. Oh, yo,
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. Its great value, it protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against tooth holes and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
You're still watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, to prompt our conversation, which is on the National Livestock Transformation Program, let's listen to this background put together by our correspondent, Abdusalam Jibril.
For some time now in Nigeria, farmers-herders conflict has been a recurring decimal, leading to the loss of lives and livelihoods, as well as other humanitarian consequences. Over the years, different approaches have been adopted towards tackling the conflicts. Between 2016 and 2017, 4 states of Ekiti, Edo, Benue, and Taraba enacted the Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law, commonly known as the Anti-Grazing Law. While the laws were enacted to curb the frequent farmers and herders altercations, some persons believed they had political undertones. The legislations were also perceived as discriminatory, as they seemed to attribute violence to pastoralists. In 2019, however, the federal government adopted the National Livestock Transformation Plan, a brainchild of the National Economic Council, targeted at supporting the development of the livestock sector in collaboration with subnational entities. The plan, which is to run from 2019 to 2028, will focus on modernizing livestock production using a mix of nomadic breeding and ranching that would serve a modernized dairy and meat processing industry. It also seeks to provide mechanisms for peaceful dialogue and reconciliation in affected communities towards a harmonious multicultural, interdependent, and mutually beneficial future. Initially implemented in 7 pilot states of Adamawa, Benue, Kaduna, Plateau, Nasarawa, Taraba, and Zamfara states, how has the program fared so far? Are the objectives being met? How effective has been its implementation in achieving its desired results? Guests on the program will give answers shortly.
And join us here in the studio to discuss the topic. First is Dr. Andrew Kwasari, Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Agriculture, Office of the Vice President. Sir, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Gideon.
And also with us is Professor Garba Hamidu Sharubutu, Executive Secretary, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, ARCN, and a specialist in infectious diseases as well as livestock and veterinary legislation. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Okay, and joining us via Zoom from Gombe, would like to welcome the National Secretary, Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. That's Alhaji Othman Ngezama. Alhaji Othman, pleasure to have you with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And from our Mina Network studios, we have been joined by the Secretary to the Niger State Government. That's Alhaji Ahmed Ibrahim Matane. Alhaji Ibrahim, delighted to have you again on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much and welcome viewers.
Okay, gentlemen, Kirian, yes, let's kick off with the SSA to the
Yes, exactly. Has to kickstart this conversation because, of course, we've had you a number of times, on this platform, based on the national economic plan, which the Vice President headed. In fact, it was launched in 2019. It was launched. It launched the national livestock transformation plan for this country, of course, to curb the conflicts that has remained perennial, between farmers and, of course, herders. And 3 years into the 10-year-old plan, not much has been heard of the impact of this particular transformation plan. We could just start off by letting us know what has transpired since 2019 when this template was launched.
Thank you, Kirian. And as you said rightly, that we have discussed this before on this platform. And it's important. I think this is the most appropriate time to give an update to Nigerians that the National Transformation Plan, since 2019 when it was approved, what has happened. So 2 things. Let me start with the easier one, that we lost almost the whole of 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, because the National Livestock Transformation Plan requires a close-knitted working between the federal government and the subnationals, that's the states. But not all hope has been lost. A lot of work has been done. I can tell you that out of the first 7 pilot states, before the Northern Governors Forum in their meeting in 2019 in Kaduna adopted the program for the entire 19 northern states, more than 22 governors have clearly written the details expressing their interest to participate. And there has been, in more than 10 states today, standing state committees or state livestock transformation plans. Even during this COVID-19, we have been able to train the state teams of states like Kogi, and Ekiti training is in the offing. But it's very also important to note that between 2018, when Mr. President had a state visit to the Netherlands, and January this year, we have finalized to start to kickstart in full developing this, implementing this plan in 4 states with collaboration with the Danish government. You have heard Minister of Agri mention that one recently in Nasarawa. So there have been a lot of work, but one thing that we cannot, we can say that has happened is the preparatory and the participation of the state, having the state teams and the dialogues, because the National Livestock Transformation Plan has the economic component, which I hope will go into details how it works, and the conflict component. So these states, having instituted the state teams, have been dialoguing with their communities, and this has helped. And we have updates from states every now and then on how this participatory engagement has been working. So we are on course. We are on course, absolutely. And I hope that we will have the opportunity to explain more to Nigerians the details of where each state is and how actually this rollout is happening. But I can tell you that Nasarawa groundbreaking will be about the 21st of this month, and that will also carry along the other 3 states of Adamawa, Plateau, and Gombe. And we have quite a number of partners around the table. But you have to understand that the National Livestock Transformation Plan is strategic in the sense that we cannot leave anything to chance now. Science has to lead. So knowing where this land is, the grazing reserve, knowing the futures, the demographies. So today we have done 7 states with their demographies, how many pastoralists, how many cattle can be accommodated, how many families of non-pastoral families that are farming in it. Because you have to understand that the demographies have changed. And for us to succeed with this, the science of who is within this grazing reserve. So that's the first thing under the National Livestock Transformation Plan. How do you understand the demography? Today there are 3 clear demographies within the grazing reserves. And the data we have gathered from 7 states is that there are pastoralists living there. There are agro-pastoralists, those that also farm. But there are farmers that have encroached, we cannot call it encroached, but have moved because of our agricultural practices of shifting cultivation, have moved from the surrounding villages and are now farming within these grazing reserves. So the first thing we have done in these states is understand the availability of land and who are the residents, and then adopt the National Livestock Transformation Plan to accommodate everyone such that we have this transformation from within. And this is fundamental. And this work is ongoing. Knowing also what type of soil is there, the soil profile of the area, the water. I can tell you that for the 4 states that the piloting is taking off now, we know what is the soil type, what is the water profile and everything within the state. So there's quite a number of work that has gone on that is not known to the public. But these works have to happen. And then dialoguing with the residents to understand that we are doing this in line with the design of the National Livestock Transformation Plan. Principally meaning what? That this transformation will not be sustainable until and unless the central people is built around the central people, the pastoralists and the other crop farmers that are associated with the grazing reserve. The pastoralists are fundamental, and the National Livestock Transformation Plan is to handhold them to understand how to do things differently. And that is why the minister was saying in Nasarawa that this startup with the Dutch government is to make sure that we understand and we teach. It will involve 30 households, pastoral households, 30 of them, that are living within, and they will be taught how to grow their own pasture, how to conserve their own water, how to build and run ranch. The first unit that we are starting with is the unit that becomes like a knowledge center. And we have given ourselves 24 months to train these first 30 households that will go out to build their own ranches while other people also are learning how to do it. Because once they do not know how to do it, there's nothing you are going to get. So sustainability. So what is key is that we have now finalized the project appraisal document that is copy and paste. And honestly, I must give it also to this current Minister of Agriculture. He tasked us, he said, okay, fine, the strategy has been developed and finalized by the National Economic Council under the Vice President. Mr. President has given his backing. In fact, we have this partnership with the Netherlands because of Mr. President's visit there, where he had told them that he needs support. But the minister said, I want to see it built such that we can copy and place and adopt in other places. And we have been able to do this now. So carefully identifying who are the families, the first 30 families you start with, that can be the springboard for the other pastoral families within the grazing reserve. And quickly, I must also thank the governors of the states for understanding that once these people settle and the pastoralists settle and they develop this new model system, they are issued rights to remain within the grazing reserve and to own land that will become their own land, not to move around to other people's land. So these are fundamental things that Nigerians need to understand, that this transformation, we must get it right now. There is nothing like just attempting to do anything anyhow, but we must follow the design and do it right so that we are sure of sustainability and that the pastoralists will renew their way of livestock production because government has helped to create an ecosystem that transfer knowledge to them. I will rest here.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kwasare. There are a number of issues that you have raised and which will come back to you. But let's bring in Professor Garba Shaributu. Well, listening to Dr. Kwasare, I mean, at first it was challenging, just grasping what has happened in the almost 3 years now since the launch of the livestock transformation plan. Yes, we lost 2020 on account of coronavirus, but what do you see in terms of the implementation of the livestock transformation plan? Because it's a 10-year program. We're into the 3rd year now, so that's virtually 1/3 of the time that is gone. Before you know it, it's 10 years, and then everybody's asking, look, what have we achieved?
Well, thank you very much. I will start by saying that this program was actually incubated to solve 2 or 3 things. Number 1 is to resolve conflicting issues between the farmers and the herders. Number 2 is for economic sustainability, in order to find a place for these people to settle so that the much talked about land is no more as competitive that will drive Nigerians into crisis. And finally, to ensure that peace exists within the nation. Now, I want to confess that I am a partaker in this exercise because I was the special advisor to the governor of Plateau State when this issue actually came up. I want to summarize by saying we are delaying too much. And the delay has now led to other factors coming in. And if we have to be sincere to ourselves, the delay brought about, 1, the issue of Ruga coming in with all forms of terminologies to pollute the good intention of the livestock transformation agenda. And because of that, this program was to some extent suspended in order to give room to educating persons. And all of a sudden, experts who believe that they know more about the transformation agenda now took over, using their handset, their Zoom information, virtual meetings, either from ethnic or religious background, and begin to now over-sensitize people. So the rate of sensitization that is being done by the committee set up in the various states now becomes slower than what people are using their handsets to propagate. Now, be that as it may, you will find out that this delay has now brought in other issues like terrorism. Because while people were waiting for an opportunity to key into that area, even doubting Thomas's, as far as my state was concerned, were already beginning to key in if it is going to give them the desired sustainability and economic growth. But because of this delay, now issues of farmers and herders has now turned to issue of terrorism. Because everybody will come out and say whatever he wants to say. The pastors will say their own. The imams will come out and say their own. Mieti Allah will now give them. So you will find out that from the look of things now, it's like we are still at the incubation stage. Because we have allowed other campaigns to take over the real good intention of this program. So, again, politics is coming in. I can assure you that political activities have started. People have already started showing their interest. And the only thing people are going to rely on now is their desire to protect their people. And in order to protect their people, now this program, if we do not take time and swing into action immediately, is going to die down. But you see, I'm coming from the research background. Our research has shown us that we have a good number of governors that want to key into this program. We can cite Nasarawa, we can cite Niger State. Now, of course, there are some governors also that come out to want to claim that they also want to protect their people. But in actual sense, If you are really serious about protecting your people, a lot more action will take place. Let me cite example. When we had problems in one of these Western countries where our people were rejected, whether it's America or so, this South Africa, sorry. When we had problems with South Africa, the man with peace just got the permission of the president and moved in there and brought in their own people. What we are saying here is this. Is there anything in the 2021 budget by the state government that has shown that they are keying into this program? Let us look at their budget. I took time. I went through the budget. There's nothing there. What are the releases they have made in respect of that? You can say Mr. President in 2018 released 100% of his budget. Maybe that's about the first time people are doing that. In 2020, it's 100% of the budget. What happens to the state? The federal government cannot shoulder this responsibility because of the democratic differences that he's talking about. So if we are really serious and we are not politicizing this issue, let them come at the level of the National Economic Council meeting and sit down and say, as far as my state is concerned, this is the result that the National Transformation, Livestock Transformation Agenda has brought to me based on soil, based on demography, based on the number of people that are there. Let us know. And then this is what I am committing. Let Nasarawa commit itself. Plateau will commit. Kwara, Benue, and all the rest. Let them commit themselves. But we will continue to sit down in this place and be running round and round, knowing fully well that everybody will just go and blame Mr. President because Mr. President is Fulani.
Well, Kingsley, we have new dimensions, to this conversation from what we've heard from him. So there are many I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed, to ensure that the master plan is achieved. And on this note, I'd like to bring in the man who is, of course, National Secretary of Mieti Allah, Cattle Business Association of Nigeria, Laji Othman Ngezama. Now, you've listened to the comments of the two guests here in the studio. Of course, Dr. Kwasari has told us that, of course, the master plan is on, and he actually let us know some of the activities that have taken place in terms of the planning and the implementation. And now you've just listened to Professor Garba Hamidu, who has raised very pertinent issues that are actually bringing a kind of a cog in the wheel of progress for this particular program. Now, let us know your own view, as because everything is being built around your members. We know that pastoralists in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa are nomadic in nature, and we want to know how willing are your members to actually adopt to this new master plan for livestock development in Nigeria.
Well, good morning. You see, before you adopt a master plan, you have to be carried alone. We are definitely part of the development of that program, Livestock Transformation Plan program. But are we not part of the implementation strategy of the plan? Because for a long time now, I have not heard about the plan. I don't know what is going on. And I don't think our members know what is going on, or all the pastoralists know what is going on. I don't think the pastoralists are carried along in the implementation strategies of this plan. But whatever it is, I have not heard you well because my audio is very far. But whatever it is, because of the Professor Sharubutu talking about delay. You know, this delay is causing a lot of problems. We are not opposed to any model of settlement because that is the final solution, and that is the solution that can bring an end of this conflict in this country. Settlement, whatever model you come up with, whether it is livestock transformation plan, whether it is Ruga or cattle colony, you call it whatever, we don't care. But all we desire for is let there be a model of settlement that can begin to solve this problem. But whatever model you want to bring in now, it has to come as a process because it is taking time. Even this the noise about this livestock transformation plan has been going on for almost 3 years now. Is there anything on ground up till now? This delay is causing a lot of problems. See, look at the security dimension the crisis is taking now. Livestock settlement model is the only solution, final solution. But before getting there, in the interim, what can we do to solve this security problem that has become a national issue now? This is the question that we should be asking ourselves. Let there be something simple that can begin to settle these guys. Let us develop the existing grazing reserves we have. Let us provide water in the existing grazing reserves we have. Let us provide faster in the existing grazing reserves we have. Before you go into a modern settlement that can take time, there has to be something now before reaching to the modern settlement that you want to bring. And all pastoralist association, I think, must be part of the implementation strategy. We are lost. We don't know what is going on about livestock transformation plan. If you are talking of Nasarawa, we don't know what is going on in Nasarawa, and we don't know what is going on in any state that this program is being implemented today. Well, whether we know it or not is not important, but let there be something that will begin to settle these people so that we can come over this crisis once and for all. My audio is very poor. I have not heard a lot of what Professor Sharobutu said. I heard some few things about what Dr. Kosari said. And even you, the NTA people, my audio is very poor. Please forgive me for that. But from the few things that I picked from the discussion, this is what I have to contribute. Let there be a more settlement model that will bring an end of this crisis. And in the interim, let there be something that can be done to immediately come over these security issues that is becoming a serious national security in Nigeria. So this is our position. We are never opposed to settlement. Settlement is the only solution, considering the growing population in the country, considering the enormous demand on the land that doesn't increase. So all these things with the climate change, desertification, and a lot of other things. In the interim, let the state governors begin to develop the grazing reserves they have, provide simple water, desil the dams. We have a lot of dams in those grazing reserves, but they are silted. They are not holding water again. Provide more dams, desilt these dams, provide pasture. Then while you are doing this modern something, do something that can begin to settle these people in one place. What is forcing them to move? It's only water and pasture. While there is water and pasture in a place, they will stay there. What is moving them to the southern part of the country is in search of water and pasture. Once there is water and pasture in the grazing reserve we have in the northern part of the country, they will all come back and stay. But even at that, what can we do before reaching to that level? What can we do to solve the security problem in this country? This is my contribution.
Alhaji Othman, thank you very much. Even though you said you didn't hear the comments of the other guests, you've made very valid contributions to the conversation. And a number of the points that you have raised will form the crux of issues that we'll take on further in the course of this interaction. Let's bring in now the SSG to the Niger State government. We earlier introduced him. That's Alhaji Ibrahim Matane. Alhaji Ibrahim Matane, what is the situation report with regard to the implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan in your state?
Well, thank you very much. Let me join my colleagues, in this conversation, and to say that Niger State only applied, to be, a participating state, under the National Livestock Transformation Plan. We are not yet, picked, as one of the major implementing states. However, on our own, we believed, His Excellency, the Governor of the state, believed that, livestock subsector is a very, significant sector that can transform, the economy of the state, and of course, support the mitigation of, the farmer-herders conflict. Now, Niger State has an endowment, which is land. We are about 10% of Nigeria's land mass. Of course, a large chunk of it is actually arable. And of course, we are also lucky to have had about 21, 22 grazing reserves. One of the celebrated grazing reserves is the Bobby Grazing Reserve, which is about 36,000 hectares. This grazing reserve has had pastoralists on it, and of course, but had been abandoned for a very long time, because this reserve was identified way back in the 60s, and nothing tangible had actually happened there, until the government of Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello came in and wanted to put in, reinvigorate the place, reactivate it, and of course rehabilitate the whole of the grazing reserve. As of today, the reserve has already been surveyed. There are 9 dams in it, and of course, with the partnership of Central Bank, we're able to bring in about 5 companies that are working with pastoralists. The Freslad Capina Wamco is there, Hell Consortium is there, Irish Dairy is there, Chi Limited is there, and of course, even the government itself has taken, a portion of, the grazing reserve, and of course, putting in infrastructure. And what we have done is really not to talk about this talk about putting in framework and all of this. We just went straight, and today, what you have in Bobby Grazing Reserve is available pasture and water. And basically, this is what pastoralists require. And of course, they begin to see the practical reality of settling down, because they have easy access to pasture. We have even access pasture, and what the companies are doing is to develop silage bunkers. In one of the 2-3 companies have already developed bunkers. They have harvested this pasture and then putting it into silage. And of course, we have provided veterinary services within the reserve. We have also provided some major infrastructure, so that, the pastoralists will be attracted, to permanently settle down. And of course, they work hand in hand with farmers that are already also, are living on the reserve. And as of today, we have estimated over, 4,000, of these pastoralists, within the reserve. And we believe that they are all doing their businesses. In the past, some months ago, they never believed, that this is actually going to work. But when they saw pasture, they've seen water, and I think they're beginning now to settle down to take advantage, of this major, ingredient, for development of the livestock. And also, as a state, we are putting in money to also identify and, transform other grazing reserves. We have identified 5 grazing reserves, and we have developing them, we have surveyed them. We are bringing in the same infrastructure of water and pasture, and we are making a lot of progress on this. And we are really happy that, the Central Bank has provided this support. We want to see how Niger State becomes a hub, for livestock development, beyond, what is currently going on, under the National Transformation, Livestock Transformation Plan. And of course, all this we are doing, with the shared vision that someday we will see an end, to this farmers-herders conflict. We will see and generate, a new generation of commercial livestock farmers, in the state. So that, that is the vision. And of course, in doing that, we will continue to, mitigate, this farmers-herders conflict. And of course, we know that, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, the pilot states where are selected based on severity, of this conflict. But we also have, a perspective that indeed, where you also have less severity of this conflict, you can develop the infrastructure, for pasture and for water, so that Fulanis and pastoralists cannot necessarily move, from north, to middle belt, to the southern part of the country, because we have enough land. All we need to do is actually develop this land, provide pasture, provide water, and that's all, these pastoralists, require. And they don't need, to really, be going, back and forth, based on the seasonality, the rainy season, and the dry season, within the country. And this is what we are doing, and I think we are making a whole lot of progress on it. Very soon, we'll be inviting Mr. President, to really come and see what we're doing, with the Bobby Grazing Reserve. Thank you.
That's actually a very interesting development
in Niger,
in Niger State, you know, because if other states that keyed into this earlier on had gone this far, then of course we'll not be, you know, talking about the issue of delays and what have you. Let's bring in again Dr. Andrew Kwasari. You listened to the Secretary of NTA, and he complained bitterly that their men are not carried along. And of course, we know whatever plan that you have now is being built around his members, the members of NTA, who are the cattle breeders. Right. And of course, from the comment of Professor Garba Hamidu, it does also appear that there is a cock in the wheel of progress of what you have articulated. So let us know. First, I want you to respond to their comments.
Thank you very much, Kirian. So, first and foremost, I will start with the comment from the Mietiala National Secretary. To say that the pastoralists are not carried along, it's not right. It's not right, absolutely, because I know that in everything we have done, and I can tell you the exact numbers and who was consulted. So if you have to understand the way the Mietiala Cattle Breeders Association operate. They have the national body where Baba Gerzama is the national secretary, and they have the state chairperson and their own structures. In what we are doing in National Livestock Transformation Plan, there is no state that there has been a single meeting without having all the stakeholders present, the pastoralists, the crop farmers, and the surrounding community. There is no single state. And we have in Nasarawa, for instance, 7 grazing reserves surveyed so far. All the pastoralists. I personally have been involved in all of these processes. Before the lockdown of 2020, the program that is to start this February, the takeoff of the pilot sites, I was in Nasarawa, I was in Plateau, in Adamawa, with the Dutch consortium that is doing partnership with Nigeria for the teaching pastoralists on how to settle. And I know that we were in all the grazing reserve, sitting with the pastoralists, even identify if they understood what is happening, how they want it done. They have been in all of the meetings. I can walk to any of these grazing reserves today, and I call the ROs by name. So I have been in all of them. And we have carried, we have even stepped down stakeholder from state down to the community where the grazing reserve is. Who are the key? What is the household? We have the data of every household. How many cattle, how many goats, how many sheep, how many chicken? And then as a farmer, how much hectares of land you are farming within that grazing reserve. So this is completely, and I can understand that maybe there has not been a lot of noise about what we are doing within this grazing reserve, but every member, down to who are the first 30 households, have been carried along.
But it's curious, I should come in here, Dr. Kwasari, that in spite of these consultations that you are referring to, the National Secretary of Mietiala made the comment that he made. But there are lessons to learn from what is happening in Niger State. Niger did not give an indication of this kind of widespread consultation you are talking about, trying to take a census of how many chickens or goats are roaming around in those reserves. And yet the reserves, according to him, are up and running.
That is, listen, sir, it's a very good interjection you made. And let me tell you, I have been to Bobby. What the secretary is saying is true, but we have also been part of the consultation in Bobby. I was there with the then Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audu Obe. We had all of this interaction. We had all the understanding of the resources within. What I'm saying is that we are not going to get anywhere without the proper ownership of this project, particularly the immediate beneficiaries. The buy-in of stakeholders is central. And he knows, the secretary in Niger, knows that the efforts they are making didn't just happen arbitrarily. Look, sir, we have done this arbitrary approach for years, and it has not taken us to anywhere. And let me even correct an impression. The how is what will make us solve this problem finally. If you tell me today, for instance, from the research available, and I would like Professor Sharambuzu to show us, do you know how long, if you check the budget of Nigerian government, how long there has been monies for providing water and pastures in the grazing reserves? It's been there since, and it's on the budget of government, both state and federal, as far back as independence. But the question we have found out developing national transformation plan is that the approach, once there is no ownership of that water and pasture, then nobody cares for it. These are resources that are not, when you put them for pasture, for instance, somebody has to be responsible, somebody has to determine how long you graze on it or how long you harvest it, what's the interval of care, how do you replenish it. So it's not something as if you just build pasture, you've solved the problem.
You're making a good point, no doubt about that.
No,
right?
it's very good.
That's to me highly, elitist.
No, there's nothing elitist about it. There is nothing elitist about it. The pastoralists within the grazing reserves, and I'm speaking with authority, having dialogue with them. There is nothing different between pastoralists and a maize farmer in your village, sir, or a rice farmer who once threw the seed of maize, but today they make a nursery and transplant rice. Who once planted maize 20 meters apart. Today they are telling you that they are planting 6 inches apart. So it's just hand-holding and training. And this training must just be necessary, and it has nothing to do with
this is part of what my colleague Kieran is saying, the elitism relating to all of this. You listen, again, Dr. Kwasari, you listen to the SSG of Niger State. Well, I mean, he indicated what was going on, but he has also told us what the state, Suomotu, is doing. That's to say, on its own, and the apparent results that the state is getting. It's land mass, nearly 10% of the entire federation, and they have identified previously abandoned grazing reserves, which they are now transforming. Professor Sharabutu, what do you make of what Niger is doing, and what lessons do you think we can learn from what Niger is doing in the meantime, from what we hear from the SSG, so that the National Livestock Transformation Plan doesn't become some abandoned program? Because you just said this year this is already February. By the end of this year, 3 years fully gone. You get another 4 years, 5 years, and everybody says, as you indicated, politics is around the corner.
Well, thank you very much. I truly align myself with the progress that is being made, and I seriously believe that any reasonable, government at the state level should be able to find out what is happening. You see, we learn from reciprocal colleagues and trying to find out what is happening. It's not always okay for us to say there are ranches in England, there are ranches in America, when people are really making serious effort at this level. It is something we have to learn from. But if you will permit me, I would like to address the issue that the Secretary of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association is saying. It is an association, quite all right, isn't it, sir? Now, if it is an association, the association have their norms, they have their rules, they have their regulations, they have what they want to achieve. Let us ask ourselves, will Mieti Allah sit down and wait for Buhari or Bello or Sibanjo to actually do their work for them? In terms of mobilizing their people at association level. Recently, we saw what Gumi is doing. If I sit down as the chairman or secretary of an association, and a lot of tantrums are being thrown at my members, I must come out in black and white to say, look, what are you people doing? Because these are the things we are having. I'm beginning to create a lot of doubt in my mind as to whether the perpetrators of this violence are actually members of the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association. It is okay for us to have those that rear their cattle in thousands, residing within the town, they have gone to school, they understand what ABC is. But those that foment this trouble, certainly, I doubt if they are really members. And you go on membership drive, you go on sensitization. There is a need for Mieti Allah to stop waiting for government to provide water, to stop waiting for government to provide grazing routes and all the rest. Because a lot of insults have been poured on them, whether they it is the Fulani that are perpetrating or they are criminals, there is a need for an association that is being tormented to be the cause of a problem to also move out. It is high time they must move out. If they have been doing that, I am advocating they must move out into the interiors because they are our people. I will tell you one thing. Before God and man, even when I was in Sokoto, by the time anything is going to happen that I know is going to affect my people, I always go home. I go home to vote. I go home to do certain things. And the reason why I do that is to make sure that my people do not get themselves in this. We need to educate them. These are people that already, if you listen to them, they feel threatened, which is true. They don't benefit anything from government. Their cattle is getting less and less because of the low productive nature of our system. And so there is a need for us to actually help them on the side of government. But at the same time, the leadership of this association and advocating must go.
Make it clear. What do you expect the leadership of Mayor Tiala do? In practical terms, what should they do? Do they have the financial base to do that? Or do they have the organizational ability to do what you expect? I want us to know the specific things you want them to do.
You see, Mayor Tiala is a non-governmental organization. They must have membership drive. And this membership drive must have seen the benefit of that association. So they know how to mobilize their own money. But what I want them to do is to go into the interior and ensure that they tell their people, if they have not heard what the whole nation is saying about them, they should tell their people this is because they have told us that he has told us that they are part and parcel of the plan in the first instance. It's just that they don't know what is happening. Now, if there is a program that is meant for your people and you have had nothing, presumably you have nothing, there's a need for them to move to the government and say, look, what is happening about this program? And then you move in and try to sensitize your member. Rather than, if you look at it, on the pages of newspapers and on Facebook, you find them meeting Governor Atom, meeting Governor this, meeting Governor that, meeting Governor... This is not where the issues are. The issues are in the rural areas. And we have seen a practical example of what Gumi is doing. Whether it is good, it is not good, the issue there is that he is trying as much as possible to link up and go into the interior. And I think they will understand themselves better.
Yeah, Professor Shaributu, thank you very much. We have a short break.
All right.
And when we return, we'll give the Mayor Tiala's National Secretary an opportunity to respond to this very interesting conversation live on the network service of Africa's largest television network, the NTA.
Broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA TV College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Intermediate online news reporting skills. Date 1st March to 12th March 2021. 2 weeks. Studio lighting indoor and outdoor. Date 1st March to 5th March 2021. 1 week. Modern trends in broadcast media marketing. Date 15th March to 9th April 2021. 4 weeks. Understanding public service rules and mastering the art of standard minute writing, reports, memoranda, and briefs. Date 15th February to 12th March 2021. 4 weeks. The course fee for the 4-week courses is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for the 2-week course is 80,000 naira, while the course fee for the 1-week course is 40,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. Venue for all the courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach.
Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Logo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
All right, you're welcome back here and still watching Good Morning Nigeria on NTA's network service. Let's return via Zoom to Gombe, where the National Secretary of Mieti Allah, Alhaji Uthman Ngazema, is still with us. Alhaji Uthman, you listened to the comments by the other guests. Just one aspect of what Professor Sharabutu said, which I would like you to also speak on. And indeed, this is supposed to be part of the National Livestock Transformation Plan. The education and sensitization of the pastoralists. In the meantime, of course, he says that, look, there's a lot of image crisis surrounding the cattle breeders, and it does appear that the leaders are not reaching out to those who are in the forest where you're having a great deal of these problems. Exactly what is happening that you still find in some cases, and the videos are all over the place, of so-called herders just grazing their cattle on crops, on farms, some of them getting into barns and slashing up harvests, including yams and plantain and other things, and feeding them to their cattle. What is being done with regard to the aspect of education and sensitization of your members who are deep in the forest?
Well, you see, Professor Sharubutu maybe didn't know what we have been doing. This is part of what we have been engaging ourselves with. All this visiting the governors that he saw us doing is to go there to solve one problem or the other. And when we go on sensitization, we don't make it public. And what can the association do now under the current situation in the country? This is what we requested our members at the cell levels to continue to do, sensitization. Talk to our members. Let them stop unnecessary encroachment into people's farmlands. Let them respect law and order. Let them know that when something happens, they will be at the receiving end because they move with all they have. With the cows, that is their only source of livelihood, with the families, children, and what have you. So,
a problem with the audio connection to Othman Ngezama, but of course we would have loved to hear from him because this issue really borders on one, security, well, human life and property, as case may be. And again, we know that everything revolves, all these conversations, revolve around members of Mietiala, who are actually the cattle, breeders in this country. All right, he's back again. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, continue your yes, continue with your comments, on the question earlier put across to you.
Hello?
I can hear you clearly. Just continue your...
I have a challenge with the audio.
Continue with your comment. We can hear you clearly.
Hello?
I think we're having a very serious audio problem here,
Yeah.
So let's return to Abuja while we hope that our engineers will, of course, be able to put that back on course. All right, so let's return to Abuja and continue the conversation with, or rather, let's return to Mina.
Yeah, that's the
Niger
SSG
State, where we have the Secretary of State government in the place. First, sir, you actually gave us a very important analysis on what your state government is doing with respect to putting grazing reserves back into action, and of course, letting us know that activities are ongoing in the reserve areas, where you have mentioned. Now, let us know what should other state governments do, in your opinion, to see how they can, kickstart, their own activity based on what you have, told us. Because some governors have keyed into this project, but they have not really shown any sign of adequate implementation of, the program, which is already articulated, during the National Economic Council meeting held in 2019. Now, what can state governments do that you did? How would they begin? Let us know how, all the efforts that you made to be able to get to where you are today.
Thank you very much. One is for the governors and the stakeholders to have the vision that they actually want to develop the livestock, sector. And of course, secondly, you don't wait, on a federal program because of the way our structure works. You have to begin to put in, the little resource that you have in order for you, to go on to develop, the sector. Now, of course, we have studied the National Transformation Plan, very good, and we just picked, quite a few areas that we believe that we can quickly domesticate and actually practicalize. And that's exactly what we have done. Of course, one of it is that for you to really, go into the development, you have to provide, infrastructure within the grazing reserves. And of course, what are these infrastructures? Simple. You must have, water supply. So if there are dams that are there, you need to desilt them. Like somebody has said, this grazing reserve have been abandoned for decades. So you need to quickly move in, rehabilitate the existing infrastructure. Two, of course, you need to, develop the land where you're going to provide the pasture. And because the pastoralist will not remain, on the reserve if there is no pasture. So it's up to you to quickly begin to do these two things together. Develop the pasture, provide water. Once you have done that, then you have now begun to, see how the pastoralist, perception, changes. Because in our own case, it was also gradual. We had to show that actually pasture exists and water exists before the pastoralists become, very, humble to say that, yeah, we actually can stay. The second part, of course, is to provide veterinary services. And this you have to put in place. It does not cost too much. And of course, all of these are not really rocket science. There are things that, you just need to be committed to. You don't spend billions. No. You can start small and gradually upscale. And that's exactly what we have done. We have pool of, technical experienced, livestock officers, veterinary doctors, many of them wanting to actually, align, with this development, and that's exactly what they have been doing. For the companies that have come in, we clearly, define how they are going to, use the land, for them to partner with pastoralists. For instance, if you are allocated, 5,000 hectares, 2/3 of that must be devoted, to, development of pasture. And then 1/3 is where you're going to put your infrastructure, put your animals. And of course, we have now gotten the buy-in, of the pastoralists. They are going to pay for pasture, but they're not going to pay with their own money. They're going to pay, with milk. So you go and you collect, certain, quantity of pasture. You also, the company of take the milk and then, take it, as part of the payment for pasture. And they are very happy about it. They have already formed cooperatives and they have seen this working. And now why I said we need to go beyond just, the theory part of it is this. We brought in animals, and within a very short time, the pastoralists have seen the difference between the buffalo that they were grazing all over the place with one that has become sedentary, fed on napier grass and bracharia and gamba. And they could easily see, within a matter of days, there has been difference in the weight, of these animals. And these are the practical ways of actually, extending, the improvements that we are making, for them to see. And believe me, they're very happy. And we are doing all of this, not that there are no challenges. One of the major challenges is that, of course, the pastoralists still split their heart, thinking that, well, if anything happens, I still have my heart outside. And then when things, begin to improve, they bring them in. So, and if you are bringing in your heart, it's like you are also, endangering the ones that are within, the reserve, as a result of diseases that they may be carrying, all over the place. Secondly, of course, there are security threats. Now, because we are going to have a concentration of large, population of, animals, the cattle rustlers are always targeting, the reserve. And so we had to build a security architecture around the reserve. And of course, this is not easy, but because we have to remain resilient, because we believe, this is doable, and this is the way, we have been going about it. And of course, we're happy that people who come, some states, have actually visited the reserve, and they have seen what the wonderful thing that is going on, and they're going back to see how they can begin to, to implement the same thing. Of course, we do sensitization, education, communication, and then the pastoralists are beginning to see that, look, they have no business, moving up and down, because what they are looking for, in other states is automatically here. So I think we should, focus more. We need to be very rapid, about, the livestock development in a way that, people can be well persuaded that actually, ranching, modernization, is doable within the shortest time. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ahmed Matane, SSG to Niger State. I just wanted to pop this question to you as well. In terms of sensitization and education, again, these are components of the livestock transformation plan. As SSG, how much of a role do you see the Nomadic Education Commission playing in all of this, assuming that commission is still functional?
Well, the primary objective of the commission is to actually educate, the pastoralists, give them some Western education, give them some skills. But we know that because, again, of the structure we operate, the commission is very ineffective in a way. What we would only do is actually, bring in our extension workers who are specialized, livestock extension workers to work with these pastoralists. But believe me, we have put up schools. We have put up, primary schools. We are building up secondary schools. And we have seen, the pastoralists really keen into this. Believe me, when you go there, you see young children of pastoralists, speaking good English, preparing and then becoming, well-educated. You'll be shocked that we can actually achieve this within the shortest time. The second part, of course, is, again, human development. You need to provide, healthcare facility, for the pastoralists. This we have done. We have deployed, doctors and medical personnel so that they have a sense, of satisfaction that, yeah, all these other elements are actually there for them, and they can well take advantage, of whatever is available. And, this is working because they believe it is real. They can see it, they can touch it. Just about, a week ago, within the shortest time, we have been able to extend one of the dams to about 7 kilometers, so that we can be able to harvest sufficient water, so that during the the rainy season we can harvest water. During the dry season we can actually use the water to irrigate this pasture. And of course, there are so many things you can do within the shortest time. But I know that our drive, and this is usually will take so long, time, 1 year, 2 years, and you really don't see anything tangible. And we believe that we need to depart from that trajectory. We need to be very practical. We need to be very rapid for us to arrest the current national difficulty, national challenge for farmers' hardest conflict. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed.
Kirian, I want us to return to the National Secretary of Mietiala.
Yes.
One question for him to also respond to would just be to say, look, what are your comments on what is happening in Niger as explained by the Secretary to the state government? What lessons are there?
Well, honestly, I'm very happy to hear what is taking place in Niger. Congratulations to the governor, and we are so happy to today know what took place in Niger regarding the settlement of the pastoralists. If all governors will emulate what is taking place in Niger, I think within a very short period of time we'll come over this crisis. From what I heard from him, because my network is very bad, the audio is skipping and coming back. From what I heard from the SSD, well, I think they have done a lot, and they have done their best to try to capture the needs of the pastoralists in the state. These are the kinds of engagements that we want to see from the other state governors. Once they all get involved in addressing the issues, the way Niger state government has addressed the issues, I think within a very short period of time we'll come over this crisis. And to the professor again on the issue of this sensitization, as an association, there's nothing much we can do more than sensitizing our people today because of the current situation. And in addition, is to work with governors, traditional rulers, security agencies, in order to cooperate and support them in what they are doing to bring peace back into the country. Being part of our contribution, because we are not security agencies and we are not government, we have our limits of operation as an association, and we know those limits. Much of what we can do is not more than to engage on a serious sensitization of our members against all vices that are taking place.
Okay, we are beginning to experience the audio problem we had earlier on. So let's come back here again and ask Dr. Andrew Kwasari to sum it all up. You've listened to the SSG of Niger State. Sum it up, vis-a-vis the plans that you have, which of course you have enumerated at the first and second instances when you spoke to us. So now, going forward, what is the trajectory that we're expecting from you?
Well, thank you, Kirian. What the SSG enumerated is actually, he's describing the National Livestock Transformation Plan. And as I told you, in the last 2 years, we have visited Bobby not once, not twice. So they are following exactly what the National Livestock Transformation is meant to do, where between subnationals and the federal, they work together and demonstrate and teach the pastoralists how to settle. So what he described, and interestingly, if he had put on SSG of Kaduna, he would have repeated the same progress being made in Kachia Grazing Reserve and Damao Household Dairy, working with Allah. And also we have many of these happening. What I'm saying is that it doesn't happen overnight. We have to be meticulous. We have to plan. We have to carry the pastoralists at the ground. We must know the exact number that we are working with so that it becomes an all-inclusive buy-in by the communities, by the beneficiaries. So what he said is true, and it's happening across. When we say that NLTP is not working, it's working. There is none of these governors that have not done some work within their grazing reserve. But we have to approach it slowly, and science have to guide us. And what he described is what I encourage all other governors. And remember, there is a lot of funding also coming from Central Bank to Bobby. But above all, there are at least 4 companies that are there. And I want to speak about this. The importance of following National Livestock Transformation Plan, where it is not business as usual, but public money help to demonstrate, private money help to scale up, and all of this, we have to work that way. And that's what they're doing in Bobby. That's what is going to happen in all the other grazing reserves that we're talking about. But the security issue in this country, let's take, for instance, Friesland Campina is in Bobby. Friesland Campina is in Oyo State. They've just vandalized an entire milk collection center of that company this week that just ended. What has that got to do with farmer header? The farmers, the pastoralists there, are not outside. They are living within a grazing reserve. And the company installed a milk collection, 50 million naira milk collection center that is collecting milk from the farmers just like they are trying to do in Niger. But the community came in on this hate that they don't want to see pastoralists. And they vandalized it. So, sir,
where was that?
In Oyo State, Iganga, in Oyo State. So let us, I want us to separate this insecurity, but the hate that is being propagated with fake videos and real videos is a problem. And we have to separate these two. So what I can say to some is that the National Livestock Transformation Plan, any governor knows. And that's why we have over 22 of them that have signed to do this. What Niger is doing, what Nasarawa is doing, what Plateau is doing, what Benue is even doing, Taraba. FAO is supporting.
So what's happening in Niger is being replicated in other
states. It's happening in many states.
But I think that we
it's
also...
happening in many states.
Dr. Kwasari,
yes, sir.
Let's also bear in mind, because Professor Shaributu drew our attention in his opening remarks to say, look, in his own view, on account of the delay, politics has crept in, banditry has crept in, terrorism, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure that you must have also read, all kinds of posts in the media lately. Niger can say that we are doing what we are doing, and the SSG did admit that land mass is an advantage to them, nearly 10%. Again, as I'm saying, you must have seen it in the social media, that the entire southeast is probably just the size of Niger State.
That's correct.
So what land would the Southeast be giving out for this particular purpose? Shouldn't we also try to focus on, say, comparative advantage? You cannot, for instance, attempt to say you want to grow cocoa in all the 36 states and the FCT. Absolutely. You can't attempt to say you want to grow have palm plantations. There are only 24 states where you can do that, by the way, to say in all the 36 states of the Federation. Professor Shaributu, how can we claw very quickly at comparative advantage, get those locations, and then use that where there is a success story such as Niger to begin to incentivize those who are still in the forest and say, come out, as the real headers come out, then the criminal elements will be exposed for who they are, and then they face the consequences. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you are really making a lot of contribution towards solving this problem. We must prioritize. We must look at the comparative advantage that is available in each of the states of the Federation. They have a good statistics. They have a record. And I know that in some of the states, they have done some little census as far as the livestock owners are concerned. And these are areas we'll actually come up with. And I think it will be nice for the National Livestock Transformation Agenda to actually bring out their statistics so that people will be able to see. Let us see these statistics that you have built up over the years so that it does not become the case of we have 2 million farmers.
All right, Prof. Actually, time is actually running out.
But just you can say that in 10 seconds.
Yeah, there is one serious issue we resolved here, even though we cannot dictate to government. Federal road safety course was introduced because people were dying on the road. Here we are, the forest is constituting a problem. Can't we police this forest? Whatever we do, however successful the National Livestock Transformation Agenda is, you build up ranches, I'm telling you, they are going to be destroyed by those who are harbored in the bush.
Thank you. And at this point, we have to appreciate all our guests this morning. Dr. Andrew Kwasari, Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Agriculture. We thank you for coming this morning. Professor Garba Hamidu Sharubutu, Executive Secretary, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, ALCN. Thank you so much. Via Zoom from Gombe, we had Mieti Ala, Cattle Breeders Association Secretary, Alaji Otman Ngezama. Thank you indeed. And of course, from Mina, we had the Secretary to the State Government of Mina, Ms. Alaji Ibrahim Metane. We also like to thank you for your contribution this morning. Well, and that will be it for this today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you for joining us, and of course, do again tomorrow when we return with a fresh edition of the program. My name is Kirian Umayo.
And I'm Kingsley Osadola. Stay safe and be well.